It's time to look at another hidden cost of dog ownership. Now, where we see dog ownership, we always see some type of human sacrifice, typically the sacrifice of our little kids. Let's start off with some statistics. So, read the blue highlight with me. In the United States, many schools, especially in low income areas, struggle with inadequate heating and cooling systems, which can negatively impact a student's health and learning. For example, it mentions California, 15 to 20% lack functioning heating and air conditioning, with other similar issues reported in other regions as well. So, this is true for also just kids that live, their homes. Their homes don't have adequate heat, adequate air conditioning, adequate ventilation, and they end up suffering. Even some of them end up dying from excessive heat and excessive cold because they just, we can't afford to share some energy with them. And so, with that in mind, let's look at this thing about dog culture. So, we're looking at cremations. So, we spend all this money taking care of these dogs, and then they die, and then we have to cremate them. So, let's look at some numbers here. So, about 1.9 million pet funerals, 99% of them end up in cremation, and these are dogs. And so we're talking about, look at right here, 5,205 dogs being cremated each day. Every day, we cremate 5,000 dogs at least. And this is not to mention many of the other ones that happen that are paid for by rescue organizations that don't necessarily have to list all of this. And we'll talk about that more near the end of this little information share. So now let's look at what the daily cost of these cremations are. What we as a nation spend on cremating dogs while our little kids suffer poor learning outcomes and poor environments so that we can cremate a bunch of freaking dogs. Let's have a look. So, according to these sources here that I'll list, Daily Paws and Lemonade, it's about $30 to $600. Okay. And of course, that's just the cremation. It doesn't include stuff like this right here, a bunch of fancy pictures and fancy urns. But also, some cremations cost a lot more. For a dog, we're looking at like 200 to 450 per cremation. And this is happening daily. So let's grab our calculator and see what we can figure out. So let us be conservative. We'll just say $300. We'll kind of split the difference here because we got a lot of different numbers. We have some numbers up to $2,000 per cremation, but it's 600, 450, 200. So we're going to say 300. I think that's a pretty fair guesstimate, middle of the road. You know what I'm saying, guys? And let's go back. Now let's go back. So it's 5,205 dogs per day. Okay, so let's grab our calculator. So that's $300, as you can see, times 5,205. That's per day. $1,561,500 per day to cremate dogs while our kids go hungry, our disabled veterans can't even get a freaking ride to the VA hospital, while single moms can't even get approved for something that they might need to help raise their kids, while our schools go without air conditioning and heating, while our kids are suffering shitty conditions. But hey, we're going to spend $1,561,500 per day on freaking dog cremations. Go ahead and tell me that I'm not fucking onto something here. Go ahead and call me a dog hater. No. We have a serious problem here, people. We have a serious problem with child sacrifice, with ignorance, with child neglect. when this is what we spend every freaking day to cremate dogs? There's no way that this is right. Let's move right along with our presentation. So, large dog breeds, those are becoming increasingly popular. You got your XL bullies, you got your big old freaking cane corsos are becoming popular now. Pit bulls are slowly starting to fall out of popularity because a few people are starting to wake their ASS up to the nastiness of them. But, we're going to get more dogs. We're going to get ourselves some golden retrievers, all that stuff. So why would I bring up, the fact that we're getting bigger dogs? Well, I also need to bring this up. We have a lot of obese dogs, right? Big old chubby ass freaking dogs sit around with dog mom eating treats all day. So, what does that all equal? More cost. Look at this. Cremation for a larger dog costs more and requires more energy. So while we get our dogs fatter and fatter and fatter every frickin' day, we sit back and say dogs are better than kids. We spend more and more money on dog cremations every frickin' day, and less money on our own human kids. We got a serious frickin' issue here, people. It's time to wake up to the absolute of effing gross bullshit of this dog ownership. Next slide. Okay, so as I mentioned, many young kids in the U.S. are lacking adequate heat and cooling solutions. Well, we got plenty of freaking heat to burn dogs, don't we? Yep. Isn't that freaking crazy, you guys? We are throwing out billions and billions and billions of BTUs to cremate dogs. Well, hundreds and thousands of kids out in America are sitting there shivering, wishing they had a pair of wool socks, wishing they had a cap. While you put caps and wool socks on your freaking dogs. Freaking sick. Next slide. So this is what I was talking about. Many people in the U.S. experience energy poverty. It's where they have to spend a shit ton of their money just to keep their house, warm or cold or electrified. And many of these houses are full of dogs, too. But while we blow all this electricity on cremating dogs, many of our fellow American citizens can't afford to stay warm or cold or keep their food chilled because they are in energy poverty. But we got plenty of energy to freaking roast off a bunch of dead dogs, don't we? Wow. Wow. So while our school systems can't get their AC and heat upgraded, while children live in crappy houses, these crematoriums for dogs have specialized equipment and systems. Oh my God. Plumbing, special cremation process needs, proper waste management, emissions, safe disposal of byproducts from the cremation. I mean, just think about it. You live in a house with a leaky faucet and drafts and rats and roaches. And, your landlord or whatever, they can't afford to help you. Your family can't afford to help you. But they all got plenty of money to create this amazing high-tech process of burning dogs. Damn. And now, while all this stuff is happening, they're going to tell us to quit using so much products, quit using so much CO2. They're going to tell us to go green, turn our heat down, turn our AC down, right? You can suffer through a winter without heat a little bit. Just wear a hat, you guys. Come on, right? But look at this. Cremations have negative environmental effects primarily due to high energy consumption, right? From bigger dogs, more obese dogs, significant carbon dioxide emissions, with each cremation producing around 540 pounds of CO2. Also, we got pollutants like mercury and other harmful substances into the atmosphere. So even after your dog dies, millions of dollars that Americans spend to burn these dogs off, then fill the environment with CO2. But hey, some little kid somewhere in America, we're going to make them feel guilty for wanting to sleep in their own bed because the husky dog wants to sleep in there or something like that. Damn. So, another thing about this, look at this 501c3 pet charity. I've mentioned this before, but we're paying for this. We're paying for this frickin' bullshit. While we can't afford to take care of our kids and take care of our families, um, look at this. A pet charity might be able to write off a cremation expense if they're directly related to the operations. So this is like in the state of Oregon, like the street dog hero bringing in dozens and dozens of pit bulls from Texas. What happens if 2 or 3 of those pit bulls dies on the plane? And they do, people. Look this stuff up. Those dogs have panic attacks on those jet planes that cart those dogs into our state. They're going to have to get cremated. And since that is a 501c3, 501c3, they're going to charge you as the taxpayer. They're going to deduct that. Yep. So we're paying for this, you guys. We're paying for this with our freaking taxes. We're paying for this child neglect. We're paying for this dog worship. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely sick. And if you're a celebrity or a politician and you don't at least confront this or mention this, like Tyrese Gibson, for example, a celebrity, his dogs recently killed his neighbor's dogs or neighbor's goats or something. Yeah, we got some freaking problems with this dog culture, people. And if someone is not talking about this, they're freaking devil worshiper or bought off by somebody, because this is dead honest. Like, I can figure this out with a laptop in my freaking kitchen, and your politicians and celebrities aren't talking to you about this. Something's up. Let me remind you of the daily cost of cremating dogs. Look at this: 1,561,500. And that is a conservative estimate. It's likely close to double that or something. Why we spend that type of money? Look at some of the numbers. 14 million children in the United States live in food insecure homes. And then we have missing children, children that are sex trafficked, people that are having all types of crazy problems that our taxpayer money pays our law enforcement to help. And those people don't get help. But we can spend this much money every day to cremate dogs. Go ahead and tell me that I'm supposed to be like totally cool with that. There's a serious freaking issue here, and if you're not talking about it, then you're just running around keeping yourself entertained. Something is not right with this dog culture, and there's no way that a slightly above average intelligent person cannot admit this. See you guys later.